Look, we all have loved ones who are struggling and might need a little encouragement to get professional help. But how do you go about doing that? Today I sit down with therapist Justin Lioi, and he gives us 5 tips that we can use to be the catalyst to get your loved ones to seek help. Like, let's say, I was super resistant to like getting more help. I mean, and this was me in the past, like just hours and hours of playing video games, like computer games, or binge watching The Walking Dead. If my wife really wanted to like help me out, like what kind of advice would you give her of like reaching out for help or not? Or I don't know, you're the expert here.
Well, I'll stop myself from asking about how your wife did it. That'd probably be better than anything I could say. A good portion of the people who end up in my office have a female partner, or even for some adult men, their mothers or a female friend who has done the first step of the research and looking up some therapists and talking to them about this stuff. I mean, sometimes it's a matter of what I said before. Like, is this working for you? Is sitting there watching all of this and playing these games, is it working for you? Mm-hmm. As your partner, it's not working for me. Mm-hmm. So there's sometimes some leverage you could use of like, I can't be in a relationship with you if you're not like working to shift anything. Mm-hmm. And I've had people come in whose bosses said a similar thing. You can't continue to work here if you're not like moving forward in some way. Mm-hmm. I always tell people to stay away from just language is so important. Staying away from even like depression, anxiety, therapy. Even I mean, I'm not here. The last thing I'm really interested in is getting a diagnosis in order to put you in a box and put you in the manual for mental illness of some kind. Mm-hmm. Now, like, is it stress? Let's unpack the stress. Mm-hmm. Is it just overwhelmingness at work, or knowing what step to take next? Well, let's work as a guide, as a coach. I mean, even as a coach with you to like figure out what the next steps could be. So sometimes it's using language that isn't so laden with stigma. Mm-hmm.
I think it was on your website or maybe on a podcast. I heard you say that maybe you can. There's like a way to prompt, right? Like, hey, like I've been dealing with a lot of stress at home because blah blah blah, and do you deal with that too? I don't know. Do you have any like best practices for like how to prompt someone, or just getting deeper, I guess, for the yeah.
I don't know what you're referring to. If it was something on mine, it sounds I mean basically the formula of me showing a little vulnerability and then asking you if that happens too. It's risky because someone could say, no, that never happens to me. What are you talking about? But it is the thing that opens up most people. If you can show that you've had a struggle with something, even basically just if you were just to say to a guy, drop that you have a therapist. It's amazing how people will suddenly tell you, like, yeah, I've thought of it, or someone's been bugging me to do that, or I'm on some medication that's been helpful. So any prompts that are opening up a little bit about what you're dealing with, while risky, then opens the door, makes it easier for them to talk about it.
Therapy is good, like you were saying earlier, like you're just helping no one but yourself, and I guess I just want to acknowledge that and how cool that is, and then also I want to ask, like, on the flip side, like, what in terms of like you have let's say I have a loved one, I have a friend who's like depressed, anxious, what will definitely not work, like, for me to like try to help him?
Let me backtrack 1 second and then dive into that. The things that we won't do for ourselves, we will often do for the next generation. So men who will never seek any help for themselves will do so once they have a female partner who's pregnant. Whatever you might teach verbally is awesome to your kids, but what are you modeling for them? So are you modeling the stoic father that like puts everybody in front of him and is always sacrificing that? Do you want your kids to grow up to be like that, like you? Because very, very possibly they will be, because that's what they see as who a dad is. So the idea is, if you want it, what do you want to show them how to be? Do you want to teach them how to be in relationships? Do you want to teach them how to get angry in a healthy way, how to deal with stress in a healthy way? If you are always bottling it up and never showing that you are sad or angry, the kid's going to get a sense, oh, well, the proper way to be is like Dad is to never get angry. Wait, I'm feeling angry. Something must be wrong with me, and I got to hide that. So you're just going to keep that cycle going. So another way of talking, this is your question about how to get someone else to consider therapy, is like, what are you teaching your kids? What do you want to teach your kids? To go to the question of what not to say, I mean, don't shame anyone. Don't tell someone that they're a horrible person. They're crazy and they need to get therapy to deal with that. I mean, nothing along those lines is getting anyone to push them into actually getting help. There you go. Anything that focuses on compassion is usually better than on punishment. We're moving further and further from like using words like nuts and crazy, and even mental illness and mental health. I mean, every time someone does something that is violent, and someone's like, oh, well, you know, they were mentally ill. Not necessarily. But every time we say that, we're reducing the stigma of someone who's not going to go to therapy because they're not mentally ill like that guy that was just on TV or something like that. So how we talk about it just casually is important in our day-to-day. And then when you are trying to encourage someone to seek treatment, don't talk about it in a dismissive, stigmatizing way. Don't tell them they're a bad person and they need therapy to become a good person. No, you're a fine person who's gotten caught up in a whole construct that is not working, an environment that is making things really difficult for you. Who's to say that someone with your same trajectory in life wouldn't be doing the exact same things you are? There's probably a good reason you are acting out or not acting out the way you are. So, and that's not to say we should let people off the hook for doing things that aren't good. But we can hold you accountable and also have compassion for you at the same time.
That's huge. I just want to be like, Justin, just keep talking. Like, this is great. Yeah, this is great stuff.
Well, easier to talk about than to do for yourself or for certain people that you care about. That just are like, why do you keep doing that?
It's true.
As a father, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I just need you to not do that.
Yeah.
As opposed to like sit with you and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
We just see everything that our kids and the people in our lives do as a message of some kind, as opposed to an indication that they are a shameful, horrible person. We'll just get along with people so much better. We'll like people more.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Justin, thanks so much. This has been so valuable. Thank you for running over, and thanks for your time, and I hope to be in contact with you, and thanks for all you do.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Whether it's with a family member or a close friend or someone in a group that you belong to, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you could, I would really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment down below, because that'll really help you spread this word out to anybody out there who needs to hear it. Last but not least, consider subscribing, because this is where I try to inspire you to be the best dad and also the best person you can be. So thanks again, and I'll catch you guys soon.